I get tons of questions from both buyers and sellers as to what title insurance is, why both the seller pays for title insurance and the buyer pays for title insurance. So
Yes.
what's up with title insurance?
Yes, absolutely. So the two policies we issue the most are the owner's policy and the lender's policy. An owner's policy protects the buyer's interest in the property. The seller will pay for that typically. It's all negotiable, but in Oregon, the seller pays for the owner's policy. As we talked about before, the title report is sort of a snapshot of what's recorded against the property. And that in itself is a preliminary title report, meaning that we're looking at preliminary items that either need to be cleared or part of that property. And then by clearing those items off the preliminary title report, we issue an owner's policy. So the buyer then is ensured that we've done our due diligence, we've cleared any items that the seller may have had attached to that property. And not only have we cleared them, but here's an insurance policy that we're backing it up with our pocketbooks. If there's something that comes up against the property at a later time, it's our responsibility to either litigate, make a payout on that if necessary, and that's kind of what the owner's policy is there for. In terms of the lender's policy, the lender wants a first lien position. So if I'm the buyer in our previous scenario, my lender wants insurance that they would be allowed in first lien position to come and foreclose. A lender's policy also, if my lender foreclosed on me, it immediately converts into an owner's policy because now the lender owns the property. They want an insurance policy that will protect them when they go to try to sell it, and down the road.
Sure.
So that's kind of generally what title insurance is all about. It came to be back in the 1800s, actually. It used to be sort of a handshake, and attorneys back even in the late 1800s would kind of prepare a handshake agreement between parties, but there was never any insurance or assurance that you're selling me the property and you're telling me nobody else has a claim to that property. But folks found out that in fact that was not the case, and so title insurance, I think if I remember correctly, started back in the 1880s in some form, and it's evolved certainly over time. But it's a practice that's been in place for a long time, just because handshake agreements, even when people have the best intentions, may not always be, there's good faith, but then there's not actually the legality of something that may attach to the property or cause a buyer to have a loss against their title or a lien of some sort pop up against the property.
Did you have any examples of that having happened?
Yeah, so I did have one recently. So we have a group of researchers that searched the property for us. In this particular preliminary title report, they did not disclose the senior deferred taxes. It was completely not even our area, but the seller was a senior and had their taxes deferred as a senior deferral, which means it's a lesser amount. When the property is sold, all those deferred taxes become due. So we didn't show it on our title report. It went undisclosed for a number of years. The buyer went to sell the property, and there was a lien, a senior tax deferral lien, to the tune of $60,000 and change. The title company was responsible, and we wrote a check for $60,000 to pay that off. It was no fault of the buyer. The seller didn't really know better. People don't know that if it's not there, maybe, and they were an older couple and, thought that they were disclosing everything they needed to. So in this example, it cost the title company $60,000, and that's what the owner's policy is there for, to make sure that anything that falls through the cracks is dealt with, through that policy.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.